Hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of Three Drams. As always, I am your host, Matt Healy, also known as Pot Stilled Matt. And we are coming to you live from Ireland. This is episode 41 of Three Drams, and I am delighted to be saying that we have three new Irish whiskey makers and creators here in front of you. Of course, as always, we are delighted to see so many returning faces. Our friends, of course, in Germany, Galway. We've got a big crowd coming in from Glanmire, as well as always happy to see you guys joining us. Our friends in Sneem are also back again, so I'm delighted to see the walking clubs back. Gary coming in from California. It's always good to see you, Gary. Welcome. So to everyone out there, a very big thank you to the O'Donovan brothers who own and operate and arrange everything to do with Three Drams. They are the masterminds, along with their staff, for Three Drams and Irish malts. None of this could happen without them. I am merely the person that shows up and does all of this lovely talking because I am here to bring you the three finest of new Irish whiskies directly to your door. Olivia, I'm delighted to be welcoming you back from Clare. As you say, it's a little while since you've been here live, but I'm glad you've been watching back after the fact as well. Guys, we have three new Irish whiskies with you this evening. We have the wonderful folks from Portmagee Irish Whiskey, then, of course, Egan's Irish Whiskey, and then a brand new kid on the block from Ohm Irish Whiskey. Of course, guys, you have the flavor makers and creators in front of you, so you have the opportunity to speak to them directly and ask them the questions you want to know about. That is what Three Drams is all about, not only bringing three new whiskies to your door every day, but being able to engage with the flavor makers and creators. For all of those who are sitting at home with a pack in front of them, of course, as always, we will have a discount code going out just before 9 o'clock, which will give you an individual discount on each of the whiskeys we're tasting this evening, and then also group discount that'll ship directly to your door. If you are not subscribed to Three Drams, what are you doing? You're here, you're watching the best of Irish whiskey, and you're not subscribed. Get onto that subscription and get these packs shipped directly to your door. Because as always, these are the fantastic boxes. They come in the post. They arrive to you. You get three of the finest of Irish whiskeys. They come with these fantastic numerated bottles here. Of course, all fantastically recyclable. Just remove the cap, put into the recycling separately, because that's how recycling works in Ireland, at least. But I am glad to see there's so many people enthusiastic about trying these whiskeys tonight, because for me especially, we're going to be trying some of these whiskeys for the first time, and that is my favorite way to be on Three Drams, to try these whiskeys for the first time with you on screen, because I am very bad at hiding my thoughts about whiskeys. My face shows it all, and I love being thrilled and surprised when tasting new Irish whiskeys. So, guys, I know you're not here to listen to me rabbit on. We are here to listen and talk to the world's best flavor makers and creators from the world's Irish whiskey. So, without further ado, we're going to have our first whiskey of the evening. We have John Murphy, who is the co-founder and CEO of Portmagee Irish Whiskey, and I want to say a very big welcome to the show. Welcome. How are you doing, John?
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for welcoming me this evening, and hello to all your subscribers and subscription personnel wherever you are and wherever in the world you may be drinking. Tonight we're going to taste Portmagee 9-year-old. Portmagee 9-year-old is a special whiskey for us. It was actually the very first whiskey that we released. And I suppose the business itself, we'll talk a little bit more when we get a bit of whiskey in us, but it's co-founded by myself and my brother James, and we're joined by our third business partner, Stuart McNamara. And when we released our first whiskey was 2018, and for tonight, I'm just going to be doing a little taste from bottle number 4 of cask 1 of our 9-year-old. And right now I'm in what we call the Barrack Bar on Barrack Hill in Portmagee, where my family has been for 6 generations now.
Well, fantastic. And that is a lot of excitement all in one introduction. So thank you so much, John. For everyone sitting at home, this is Dram Iver 1, number 1 here. We're going to have, I have pre dropped into my glass here, and we're going to have a little nose of it as we go along. I will say, John, this is unknown to you, but it's a nice full circle. In a previous life, in a previous business, I was actually in the bottling hall when you were bottling your first run of bottles ever. So I saw them go down the line. So it's a very small world. that's happened. But and I will say, to my discredit, my wife has been to your facility in Portmagee to see the lovely surrounds and taste some whiskey, and I have not been yet. So she is showing me up at this point. And then Tina in Germany saying she was in your facility last September. It was a lovely place. So look, we've got glowing reviews all around, and we've only started. Why don't we start off with a little sip of whiskey, so you can tell us a little bit about what's in the glass, and then we can learn more about the company as we go along.
Okay.
Oh. I'm going to say sláinte. It's a great color on that there as well.
Yeah. So the color is natural. There's no added coloring in this, and it's non-chill filtered whiskey as well. This 9-year-old is actually a blend whiskey. It's a blend of a 9-year-old single grain and a 13-year-old single malt. And so I hope from the nose, what people are going to get is some of the classic whiskey flavors. You're going to get your vanilla, your oak. That is going to come through, but also maybe some fruits. And it's amazing. We get a lot of visitors from different parts of the world here, and depending on how people grow up, they pick different fruits. Like you'll see the tasting notes, it might say apple or tropical fruits. I had a guy in from Romania today, and his fruit that he thought about was blueberry. So it's kind of down to the individual what you might smell or nose, and certainly from the taste. Hopefully, what you're going to get there is it's nice. You get that whiskey, which it finishes really. It's a smooth whiskey, and it finishes with a nice kind of rum cask finish. It's just a bit warming and a bit easy on the palate. And I suppose what we were trying to do with our whiskey, with all our expressions, we have 3 on the market at the moment, is we wanted a whiskey that was approachable for a beginner, that if Irish whiskey or you're new to whiskey, that it's something that's not going to put you off. It's not too harsh. It's not too hard on you. And that it's quite a natural product, and that if you're an aficionado or you're really into your whiskies, there's something enough interesting, particularly with that Barbados rum cask, that you're hopefully picking out nice flavors, nice taste from it. And as I said, coming from Ireland, I'll pick things like apple and stuff like that, because that's the fruits that I remember growing up. But somebody from other countries would pick up other flavors as they go. So I don't know. What do you think yourself, Matt?
I can't get over just nosing this. The moment I put my nose into the glass, it jumped at me. This like sugar, spice, but it's almost like crystalline sugar or some kind of like a fruity, like crystallized sugar snack or something like that. It's just it's like I'm just sitting here just musing over this glass. The nose is phenomenal on this.
Yeah.
Alan I'd say Alan's just jumped in the comment section saying it's a beautiful dram, so fruity, so smooth. I have to agree. The palate is very, it's very quaffable, and the nose is just. I'm going to sit here and enjoy this as you continue to regale us, John.
Yeah,
I'm in a happy place now.
that's a good way to start the night, isn't it? The sweet, the sugary flavors. Obviously a Barbados rum cask is going to impart that sweetness on it. Again, different people pick up different things. People think it might be brown sugar, Demura sugar. I would always say, look, people will have different tastes, have different smells themselves. Everybody's an individual. But what should be nice is it should be approachable. It should be pleasant. It certainly isn't something that's, too harsh that you would be put off whiskey. And we have a lot of people traveling, especially from America and stuff, that might be coming down to Ireland and down to our little part of the world, which is down the very southwest of the coast. And that could be their first whiskey, and they'll go, okay, that didn't scare me off whiskey, which is great because it introduces them to the category then.
So let me know, like, how, when you were putting this together, was your first release, a 9-year-old grain, a 13-year-old malt is a big open for a brand. How did that decision process go when you were deciding what your first whiskeys will be?
Yeah, I suppose the initial thing was we wanted to tell a story, and our logo for the whiskey, the first thing we did was create the brand. And the logo of Portmagee whiskey is a seine boat. It's a traditional wooden fishing vessel of the area in South and Mid-Kerry. It's very unique to the area. It's a way of fishing that's been here for centuries. And it's still used today as a rowing sport, a traditional rowing sport. And it's a sport that I do myself to this day. My family's been heavily involved in it. And we wanted to do that. And believe it or not, it's crewed by a crew of 13. So that's where we started. We said the same boat has 13 people in it, so there's going to be a 13-year-old of something. And then we said 13-year-old single malt, nice, age whiskey with quality behind it. And we went for 9 because the number 3 is synonymous with Irish whiskey. You're looking at 3 drams just here, but 3 types of Irish whiskey, 3 years in a cask. Triple distilled would be the normal. There was 3 of us who set up the company, loads of things. So 3 trees is 9. There was no 9-year-old on the market. So we wanted to have something that just stuck out when somebody saw the shelf. It might just stick out a little bit. And geez, we were delighted when we had the first cask of it. We were blown over the moon with it. You'll notice the colouring, no added colouring, non-chill filtered. And it came out and we were just absolutely over the moon when that was our first release. And we started with a single cask. And every time we released the 9-year-old, it's 1 cask at a time, with each bottle hand numbered either by myself or my brother James. And I suppose the big thing was we wanted to have a little bit of the Portmagee story stuck in the bottle, where people might know that straight away, but when they do, when they visit the place, it's something that remembers their trip to Portmagee. And hopefully when we see these bottles on shelves around the world, they'll pull it down, they'll have a good memory to take with them.
Absolutely. And you were saying that the people are coming to visit you. Obviously, I alluded to the fact that you have a facility in Portmagee. Is it an area where tourists are coming already, or are people, I suppose, pilgrimage, making a pilgrimage? There you go, to you.
Portmagee started its life actually as a smuggling village, believe it or not, and it's founded by a guy called Captain Theobald McGee. And over 300 years ago, he would have smuggled spirits such as rum from the Caribbean into Portmagee. So that's how the village actually started. It matured from a kind of a fishing community to a smuggling village, and then drifted back into a fishing village. But certainly in the last 20-30 years, it's become far more popular as a tourism location, because the boats that leave for the Skellig Islands leave from Portmagee. The vast majority of them leave from Portmagee. The recent Star Wars films were actually filmed out in the Skellig Islands as well. And that's increased the popularity. And part of our vision was to create a nice tourism product for the area. And we decided we wanted to do it with whiskey, because we think it's a great gift. It's really, it's been a great ambassador for Ireland as a country. And we wanted to do something that would take the story of Portmagee with people when they go back home, and that they would share it with other people, because whiskey is a great drink for sharing. And often, if you do it right, you'll have a good night, you'll have a good encounter with it and your friends. So yeah, for us, the visitor centre is a key part. We're in the process of building our own distillery on site here as well. So the long-term plan is Barrackhill, which has been the Murphy family land for 6 generations now. We're turning that and going to be a distillery, a visitor centre, and ancillary parts as well. And I suppose we're planning for future generations of people from Portmagee, that they can find employment in the area and they have a reason to stick around, because in a small rural part of Ireland, it's very easy to drift off and never return. And you don't have a village if there's not little children running around laughing and screaming. So it's important that there's opportunities, and whiskey is a great industry, as you well know, Matt, and some opportunities available for it.
I do apologize. My 2 dogs have just kicked down my door and come running in, which you might have heard them sniffing and snorting at me. But I mean, when you're talking about those industries, particularly with distilling, people get very excited about distilling as well. So if you find people that are local that want to be in the distilling industry, it's a great way of anchoring people as well, because it's a great industry, it's a great employment, and also it's very tangible. It's not like when they make something, you can see it, you can taste it, you can touch it, and there's a lot of pride when it comes to that as well. It's not like, I don't know, software or banking or something that's just kind of in the ether and can be done from anywhere. Are you able to tell us any of the details about what the distillery is going to look like, what kind of stills you're going to have, or anything like that, or is it all still under wraps at the moment?
I wouldn't say it's under wraps. We went through the planning permission process, and we were lucky that we came through that relatively unscathed. And the facility that we're building, it's kind of got 2 main elements. The first element that we've already established is the visitor centre, and that's housed in geodesic domes, which are a very futuristic style of building. In fact, They're kind of like a space age style building. They're also happen to be the most sustainable structure that humankind has yet developed. So, for example, if NASA or the European Space Agency was to land on Mars tomorrow, the chances are, without a better plan, they would be trying to build a geodesic dome. If you ever saw the film The Martian, Matt Damon happens to be doing his sciencing the shit out of it in a geodesic dome. And it's by the same company that actually built the domes here on site in Portmagee. So they kind of tell the history. We've 3 of them planned. We've 2 of them already built. The first one tells the history and culture of Portmagee as a village, and the smuggling origins, the seine boat fishing, the seine boat racing, everything that makes the village what it is. The second dome is a 360 immersive experience, like a full cinematic screen experience of quite futuristic technology. And the idea then is that the third dome will be kind of a digital archives of everything you do with the seine boat. Beside us, the reason the Murphy family is actually in Portmagee is our great-great-grandfather was a constable with the Royal Irish Constabulary, and he got stationed in Portmagee back in, 2 centuries ago now, in the 19th century. He didn't spend too long there, but he spent a while there, and through marriage and after the Irish War of Independence and the Irish Civil War, the Murphy family ended up owning the building that was the RIC barracks. So we're going to turn that building, which is over 200 years old, into an Irish whiskey bar. And then beside it is a kind of a farmyard structure that we're demolishing and rebuilding. And that's going to be our micro distillery on site. So it's not going to be a huge distillery. We're not trying to be huge at the moment. We're just trying to create a nice, good industry that's good for the village and that has the capacity to be here for a long term and provide opportunity for people that live and are from Portmagee or come to visit and so on.
Absolutely. If people are looking to find out information to visit you, online, do you have a website that people can check out?
Yeah, www.portmageewhiskey.com, and from there you can book tours. You can find about the whiskey. We also have our whiskey available for sale, thankfully also with Irish malts, which is great. We're through the Celtic Whiskey Store as well in Ireland. We're exporting to the USA at the moment, to Florida, Massachusetts, and New Jersey, with plans to expand. We're available on reservebar.com over in the States as well, so that opens up a lot more states as well. And we're also exporting to the EU in small enough quantities so far, but we are exporting to the northwest of Germany, Oldenburg, and a few places like that in that area. So we're hopefully expanding the footprint of Portmagee whiskey every year, and we're here for the long term. We're thinking generations ahead. The first thing we actually did on site is we planted a native Irish woodlands, 5,430 trees. 550 of them are oak trees, and the plan there is, I'm not going to see it, my brother won't see it, our children probably won't see it, but our grandchildren might see those trees reach their full height, their full maturity, and they can decide, in 100, 150 years time, do we knock them down, build casks, build seine boats? What are we going to do? So we're planning something for the long term, and we're planning to be here for a long time.
Absolutely fantastic. Is there anywhere, I suppose, you mentioned you have 2 more products. Before we wrap up, do you want to give us a little plug about what the 2 other products are now? We've tried the 9-year-old, but what else do people have to look forward to?
So the first one was the 9-year-old, is our first release. We followed that up with Portmagee Small Batch. It's very similar construction. It's also a blended whiskey, single grain, single malt Irish whiskies, and finished in a Barbados rum cask. A little bit younger, between 4 and 5 years by the time it comes out of the cask. And our third expression that we released in was Portmagee Single Pot Still. So very classic Irish whiskey style, also finished in the Barbados rum cask. So that, we've kind of kept that theme that whatever finishes we put on the whiskey, we wanted it to be in line with the story of Captain Theobald McGee and the smuggling origins of the village. So there's a whole backstory there that we've no time to go through right now, but trust me, we can do a lot of things with this whiskey brand, and a lot of exciting things with finishes and stuff like that.
Well, absolutely fantastic. John, thank you so much for bringing us through Portmagee. I had a fantastic time. I still have half my bottle here, so I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to sit down and just nose that for the rest of the evening now. A very big thank you to you and to everyone watching in the comments, and to those watching back after the fact. Do leave your questions in the comments. Even if we're off air, we'll make sure we'll pass those on and answer them as best we can. John, thank you so much for giving us your time this evening and taking us through Portmagee. Sláinte, thank you very much. So that was, as I said, I love going through whiskeys with you, because I find these really exciting whiskeys I've tried before in the case of Port McGee, but forgotten how phenomenal that nose is. And now we're coming up to another whiskey here that I'm very excited to be trying. This is Dram Though. This is Egan's Bonders Blend, and I am joined by the head blender Rupert Egan from Egan's Whiskey Company. So welcome to the show, Rupert. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well. And yourself, Matt?
Well, I am thrilled. I am at least having a good show so far. I'm very excited to see more about Egan's here. I know some people messaging me before the show is their first time having Egan's. So it's great to be able to bring them on the journey with us. And no better man than yourself. And this is dram number 2, right here. I'm going to pour it into the glass. But while we do that, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and who Egan's are as well?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me on this evening, Matt. John, that's a really, really well-made whiskey. It's delicious. Congratulations. So my name is Rupert Egan. I am the 6th generation in my family to be involved in the bonding and blending and bottling of Irish whiskey. Our company was formed in 1852 by Patrick and Henry Egan. I am 5 generations down from Henry, and my cousin, who does a lot of marketing with me, is 5 generations down from Patrick. So the way it's always pitched to me, Matt, is that the Patrick side of the family is the more kind of educated and erudite and commercially successful side. I'm not on that side. I'm on the other side. So I've had to cut my cloth doing other things in life, and my my major love is Irish whiskey, and this is our least expensive, our most approachable whiskey in our portfolio. So our biggest markets our biggest market globally is Japan. So I'm just back now from my 3rd trip in Japan. I came back 7 days ago. And Japanese, most whiskey in Japan is consumed via highball, which is whiskey and soda, and on the rocks. And we wanted something that people wouldn't feel guilty about putting on the rocks or in a soda, but was also kind of big enough and confident enough to stand up on its own. So that's what this blended whiskey had its origins as, and it's so it's a grain malt blend and 4 different cask types in it, which we can go on and discuss in a few minutes. But yeah, so that's who I am, and we now own about 2,000 casks of whiskey of various ages, from about 3 months old. So obviously not actual whiskey, still spirit, out to 32 years old, and then a lot of stuff in between. So we are genuine bonders, and have our own surety supply for probably long after I've left the business, Matt. You'll still be in it, being so much of a younger man than I am, but long after I've left it. And this is our latest release.
Well, it sounds like it's in good hands. So
we're doing our best. We're doing our best.
So tell us, as I am going to take a little nose and then a sip of this whiskey. I suppose tell us what it's like blending a whiskey for specifically focused at the Japanese market, because what a lot of people don't understand, not being in the industry, they think you make one whiskey and everyone in the world is going to enjoy it. I actually had someone boast to me recently that they were going to make a blend of whiskey that globally will be enjoyed, which just isn't the case. Not, even between America and Europe, you're going to have a variety of differences in palate. And I'm going to be very apologetic. My dogs are about to kick down this door. So I'm going, while you answer that, I am just going to let them out, and I'll be back in 10 seconds. But please speak to the audience, and I'll be back in one moment. I really apologize.
That's quite all right, Matt. Yeah, so the idea behind this whiskey is there's 4 different types of whiskey in it. There's a grain finished in first fill bourbon barrels, which All first fill bourbon barrels are not created equal. Major kind of point of differentiations that we try to have a complete surety of supply over all of our casks, know exactly who they're coming from. So the 45% of this blend is grain, all matured in AB1 first fill bourbon. And there's 40% which is finished in, first starts its life in bourbon and then it's finished in a newly charred oak barrel, NCOB or Virgin American Oak. And it gives quite a lot of sweetness to it. It's lengthened out. The body of the dram is sort of broadened out by the malt elements, which are again two types. One is Pinot, a Pinot finished malt, and the other is a PX finished malt. And each one of those components in this blend, I think, stands up very well as a whiskey in its own right. That's kind of the starting point where we're putting together a blend, that we want to make sure that when enjoyed in its component parts, that we'd be proud of the offering. But with a highball, to my taste, highballs are quite bitter. It's something that isn't consumed an awful lot in Europe. We tend to, if we're having whiskey with a mixer, it often is kind of ginger ale, but they find that too sweet in Japan. So we decided to try and meet somewhere in the middle and introduce some of the sweetness of Irish whiskey via the Virgin American Oak barrel and the AB1, and then the kind of breath from the Pinot cask and the PX cask. And this is going to do really, really well for us. Got a lot of orders from, so our distributor in the States is Total Wine and More, or a retailer, I should say, and they're taking a few thousand cases of this. The same with Japan as well. So we had a whole week of activation last week or week before last, where we were inviting people to experiment with it, straight over ice and in highball, and had a lot of fun with deciding what the best way to consume it is. Ultimately, I think it stands up very well on its own. I'm not a highball drinker, but it was great fun to put it together and challenge yourself to come up with something that features less on this side of the world, Matt.
And do you think that it's versatile enough to go into those ginger ales and?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's as a blended whiskey, there's quite a lot of malt in it, so it doesn't just disappear and kind of roll over and wait to have its belly tickled like your dog's. It kind of stands up a little bit more. It's kind of prouder, and I have it straight. If I was going to make a cocktail, I can put it in it, but I'm really, really happy with it. It's a malt heavy blend, so it's not just kind of an alcohol delivery system, which were 95.5 or 98.2. I've seen some blends, but that's not really what we do. So this is the first whiskey that we've done at 40%, not 46. Like all of our whiskeys, it's not color corrected, I think is the sensitive term. When you look at the component parts, obviously the PX is very, very dark. The Pinot, a lot of people don't know what Pinot is. It's unfermented grape must with cognac eau de vie added to it and then matured. So it's not so much a fortified wine, but it performs like a fortified wine in terms of this sort of flavor components that it'll deliver in the finishing process. So it's kind of big and plump, and same with the PX element, and that provides quite a lot of structure so that it stands up very well, really however you like to drink it. But I'm really, really happy with it. We're going to do great things with this in my most humble of views.
Well, on that, why don't we say Sláinte? And I'm going to have my first sip here. So again, if you're watching along at home and have the glass in your hand, Sláinte to you too, and let us know in the comments what you're thinking. There's a lovely kind of crisp a toffee or a caramel brittle
Mm.
almost in there on the palate, which is quite nice. A little bit of those kind of toying with fruits, and then that kind of almost, I don't know how to call it. It's almost like the very thin caramel or toffee you can kind of break and chew. That's kind of reminding me of here. It's a lovely palate.
Yeah, I mean, you'll get lots of sweetness in this. 40% of this is a grain finished in newly charred oak barrel. So I can see somebody, Roisin Carol, asking what does it retail at? So €44 is what it's retailing at in Celtic. Yeah, I've seen it in the airport. It's down at like 33 or however they managed to offer it down there. I'm not sure what Irish malls have it at as well, but I should think around that level. But yeah, you got sweetness from 81. You got sweetness from the Virgin American oak, and I've tried all matured Virgin American oak grain, and I'm kind of threatening to release that as a whiskey in itself. I think it's magnificent. I've quite a lot of that maturing. Quite a lot of Oloroso PX. We have with loads of different things going on. We've got Brunello casks, mezcal, cognac, Pinot PX. I think 11 different cask types maturing away. So we have the world's heaviest jigsaw as our 2000 casks are sitting away up in Dunleer, putting this together. We started this in 2022, and it's releasing in Japan on April Fool's Day, April 1st. So a couple of days time.
Very good. Do the Japanese do April Fools? Something in my head tells me they
No,
don't.
they don't. No, they
Yeah.
don't. No. Thankfully not. It might have been a bit of a marketing mishap to be releasing any product on April Fool's Day. So no, thankfully they don't do that.
When I'm seeing a number of people dropping in with their comments, lovely Werther's original type taste from this bad boy, and very smooth, sweet dram, easy to enjoy. So I think we're on to a winner here with this.
Yeah, no, hopefully so. I mean, I'm really happy with it. We had gone through, depending on who you ask, kind of between 32 and 39 different ratios. We did have Oloroso in it at one stage. We took that out and put in PX. Oloroso just is just a dial back a little bit in terms of its structure. But yeah, there was an awful lot of tasting of this one from an old. But I think it's great. I think it's delivering just what I wanted to deliver as well.
Is it core range?
It is. It will be. Yeah. So this is our 5th whiskey in our core range, and as I said, the least expensive of the most approachable price point. And we have a vintage grain as well, which is an all grain whiskey, but the others, we have 2 single malts, and then we have a 10-year-old blended whiskey Conviction, which is finished in cognac cask, and it's more expensive than this. So we wanted to have something that wasn't going to break the bank, wasn't going to hurt the pocketbook, as they say, and this is supposed to deliver whilst still having a really good drama.
Absolutely. Because you've got 4 very interesting casks working together in this blend. From a blending and forecasting point of view, is being core range, does that give you an extra headache having 4 different casks in it, or are they just things you have on? Because I can't imagine that you have Pinot casks.
No, and 13% of this is Pinot, so that is going to be a headache for me. We've already we'll probably do 4,000 cases of this, 4,000 physical cases of this globally this year. So we're already running into supply issues of Pinot casks. It started off as kind of an experiment, and I the truth be told, I kind of lost the run on myself a little bit, and thought that this Pinot product was so good. I said, well, why don't we just release a single malt, just a Pinot finished single malt? We have Fortitude, which is all PX matured. So we thought it kind of butted up against that one a little bit. So then we thought we would blend the Pinot with another malt, but I just knew we were going to run into supply constraints on the Pinot. So I have about 70,000 LPA of Oloroso and PX maturing whiskey, so that's not going to be a problem. And I've started buying Pinot as well, and I've got plenty of grain. So there'll definitely be times where we run into problems here. Tina, yeah, we're gonna be at Whiskey Live. So we're gonna have 2 stands at Whiskey Live this year, in fact, because we're doing so we have the Egan stand, but we also we're doing a whiskey with Leah. Do you know that the restaurant in Blackrock, Matt? There's a 2-star restaurant in Blackrock that we're doing a collaboration with them, so we will have a Leah stand as well. We're doing a seminar, as kind of a sidebar seminar, directly after Pappy Van Winkle on the Friday. Myself and Damien Gray, the chef from Leah, are doing a kind of a collision of Michelin star gastronomy meets ultra premium Irish whiskey. So I'm going to try and be in two stands at the same time for the duration of Whiskey Live Dublin. So that'll be the challenge.
Well, I'm sure that won't be a headache at all, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. Whiskey Live, of course, being the highlight of the Irish whiskey social calendar, as it would be. And Tina seems very happy to hear that you're going to be at Whiskey Live, wanting to get into more of the Egan's whiskies. I do appreciate your insight into the Pinot casks. It's obviously this kind of the blending end is the while blenders are very popular and romanticized, people don't always understand the work and the headaches that go into blending, because it's very tacit knowledge. There's no books, even the biggest bookworms and whiskey nerds can't read up on how blending actually works. It's a learned skill, as I'm sure you'd be able to tell us more than anyone else. But people don't always realize the work that goes in the background. So I appreciate the insight, because always fascinating, and at least fascinating to me. So you've at least made one person very happy.
Well, one fan. We're selling whiskey one man at a time, or one woman at a time.
That's it, exactly. So if people want to check out more, do you have a website or any socials that people
eganswhiskey.com, where a full description of all of our whiskies, including Bonner's Blend, is there now. I'll be at Whiskey Live Dublin. I'm kind of they wheel me out every couple of weeks, Matt, for one tasting or another around Ireland or the UK. I'll probably do a trip to the States this summer. I'll go back out to Japan in October, November. So I'm wearing out a lot of shoe leather. So long as no one asks what my carbon footprint is as I'm selling whiskey, I'll not fall out with anyone. But we're increasingly widely available.
Fantastic. Is there anything people should be asking you to sample in particular when they get to meet you at Whiskey Live, or is just try everything?
Yeah, we're the really fun thing about this job is I'm given loads of bandwidth and latitude to kind of fool around with different whiskies, and we're going to have a couple of interesting things there that we may or may not release. I've done some brewing with Shane at Dot Brew. I'm not sure if you know Dot Brew at all.
Dot Brew's great.
Yeah, and he made me an imperial stout, which we seasoned a cask with. We bottled the stout, and then we finished a 23-year-old malt in that. That's kind of a stunning whiskey. I'm going to start doing more and more of those. Egan's were brewers. We were never distillers, we were bonders and brewers. So we're going to do more of that kind of heritage series of brewing. I'm going to do my best to have a couple of those brews on the bar at Whiskey Live Dublin. Hopefully I won't get thrown out by Ali Alpine for serving beer at Whiskey Live Dublin, but assuming that I manage to keep my pass, that would be something that I would love to introduce people to.
Wow, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, Rupert, for introducing us to the Bonders blend from Egan's Irish Whiskey. And what was the RRP again before we go?
40 in Celtic, I know it's 44.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time, Rupert. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you at Whiskey Live. I can't wait to see some of those brews you have on the counter. Thank you so much again.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, that is 2 fantastic whiskeys we've had so far. Now we are into our 3rd whiskey of the evening. A whiskey I know a number of you had messaged me about before the show. Of course, feel free to message me whenever you want, whether on Instagram or whatever else it is. This is new whiskey to the block. Absolutely phenomenal packaging. So a lot of you, I'm sure, will have caught your eye. This is Ohm Irish whiskey, and I am delighted to be joined by co-founder of the brand. When he is not playing rugby for Ireland or Leinster, he is out working on his fantastic Irish whiskey brand, and that is Mr. Dan Levy. Dan, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Matt. How are you doing? Thanks for that beautiful intro there.
Not a problem at all. I have my little bottle here as well. I do mean it. Absolutely fantastic Irish whiskey. I will say I have an Ohm tattoo.
Nice.
And at Whiskey Live last year, someone saw me working for a different brand and saw my tattoo and went, "Where's the stand?" And
yeah, unbelievable. Yeah.
And I went, "Oh, this distillery stands over here." And they went, "No, where's the Ohm stand?" And I was like,
unbelievable.
And I looked and I was like, "I don't know." And he pointed to my arm, and I was like, "This isn't." Dan hasn't paid me to do this.
I knew you were a fan, but I didn't realize you were that big a fan.
Exactly. Yes. So Dan, welcome to the show. This is dram number 3, Ivor Tree, right here. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what Ohm is, as I fill up my little glass here for people to see?
Absolutely. My name is Dan Levy. As Matt might have said, I played 10 years professional rugby for Ireland and for Leinster, which is the provincial team here in Ireland. I know there's a lot of Germans here who won't get this at all. I fortunately picked up a really big knee injury, actually dislocated my knee in the run-up to the Rugby World Cup that was in Japan in 2019. And as a byproduct of that, Ohm was created. So my dad's always been a really big whiskey drinker, really big fan. He hails from Mullingar in the Midlands of Ireland. It was kind of always a pipe dream of ours to get a whiskey distillery set up down there. And when I got my injury, it took me 18 months to get back in the field. So I had a lot of spare time, a lot of energy that I need to expend. And what better way to do it than to have conversations and try to get the ball rolling with this. So kind of went out and knew I was going to have a lot of time. So I went out and asked a lot of people what would the views on a partnership, business partners, trying to get this kind of pipe dream off the ground, and had a number of conversations, but ended up chatting to one guy, Doug Ledden, who's one of our co-founders now. He thought it was an amazing idea. He was very keen to do it. And he said the way to do that really is to launch a brand first. Validate yourself, get some following together and kind of proof of concept, and then once you get a bit of a track record and you get a good reputation, then it'll be a lot easier to raise a bit of money and try to get the distillery put down. So that's the process we're in at the moment. We got an amazing name and an amazing kickstart to the brand with Ohm. For anyone who doesn't know, it's not Ogham, as a lot of people would say, but Ohm was the first ever Irish alphabet. So it's actually etchings done on the side of a stone. So I can actually show you in the bottle here. You can see there's a stone there. Sorry, I'm getting it wrong. And in the middle there is there's etchings, which actually mean DL.
Show us the bottle there again. I pulled you a little bit bigger in the screen.
Sorry, I'm trying to get it there. Yeah. So that signal there means DL in ohm, but like the whole way across the bottle there, I'm not sure if you can really pick it up with the light, but there's etchings, which mean, a couple of different Fire, Ireland, family, and Pride, which is cool. Just little incorporations into the bottle and to really kind of make it stand out. So yeah, we got an amazing brand, and that's kind of what we're pushing at the moment. We're very lucky to be working with W.D. O'Connell at the moment, and he's helping us source, some really, really good whiskies to couple with our really nice aesthetic and brand as well. So the way we do it is we sell exclusively online. We're on ohmwhiskey.com, and also with Irish Malts. Shout out John O'Donovan. And yeah, so the way we do it is limited batch releases. So we are just at the end of our third release now. We had really good success with the first two releases. So I think it was probably this time last year, was our first release. We had 1,100 bottles, 7-year-old single malt finished in Madeira cask. And we sold the whole thing out in 20 hours, which is amazing. Was blown away by the support and the goodwill. And then someone's already drinking the whiskey there. I like it, Alan Crow. And then our second release was a Pinot, 7-year-old single malt again, and a Pinot release, or finished in a Pinot cask, and again flew off the shelves. That one sold out in five hours. So we're doing really well. This one was a slightly bigger release, so we still have a little bit of stock, but we're coming up now in 2 weeks. So on Thursday, the 11th, at 10 a.m., we're going to release our fourth edition of Ohm, and that is a 6-year-old single malt finished in a sherry hogshead. Really, really nice liquid. It'll probably sell out quite quickly, just judging by the numbers and the following and the audience that we're growing. So I'd say the best way to make sure you're not disappointed, go on to ohmwhiskey.com and put your email in, and we give an early access code or availability to anyone on that.
Do you have because right now this release number 3 that we're trying, that this is sold out? Am I correct on that?
No, there's a little bit left in release 3. So the thing was, we sold out the first two like almost instantly. So we wanted to do a slightly bigger one for the third release. So there was a bit of stock, because we're getting a lot of people, a lot of emails, a lot of inbounds saying, I want it, I can't buy it. So we did a slightly bigger one. We're going back to, again, a slightly smaller batch now for our fourth release. Yeah. So this is the cognac. This is a 7-year-old single malt finished in cognac casks.
Well, why don't we take that little sidebar of a moment to say sláinte? I'm gonna have a little sip here with you now. Again, of course, anyone who's sitting at home, feel free to take a little sip along with us. So enjoy.
Sláinte.
That is a big juicy palate right there. That is, there's a lot going on with that. There's a lot of fruits and a little bit of maltiness at the back end of it as well. It's juicy, like it's expressive. Yeah. It's like making me salivate, which is
yeah, it's quite. You get kind of like a warm, lingering kind of finish to it as well, which is nice. Get a little hint of vanilla, particularly smelling it as well. Kind of like a little bit of caramel in it. There's also a bit of punch in it. It's a 46.23 ABV as well. So it's got a bit of kick to it as well.
Absolutely. It is, I said, that is a big, juicy whiskey. Do you have a RRP on this whiskey?
Yeah, so that is selling at €83 per bottle. As I said, ohmwhiskey.com and Irish Malt. So we are only online at the moment. We're still a young brand. We've had a lot of inbounds from people looking for distribution. Dubai, UK, a couple of people in the US already. For us, that's all stuff down the line. That's where we want to get to. We're really, really focusing on ourselves at the start. We're releasing. We're trying to get feedback. We're doing quite a few things in the branding and marketing space. So we're trying to grow our audience and make sure that our whiskey delivers every time as well. We want that liquid to be top notch because we have a striking bottle. We have very striking marketing and stuff like that as well. So the proof is in the juice at the end of the day. So we're very happy we can stand over our liquids and be happy with them.
Striking everything, including this cork. Who came up with this cork? The most unusual. I say probably the second most unusual cork. I think one company has a ram on the top of it, which is as unusual as it gets. But where did that come from?
Yeah, so it's all supposed to symbolize the kind of monolith stones that Ogham would be depicted on. So we wanted an irregular kind of jagged shape, and we also wanted to incorporate that kind of coppery gold kind of luxury kind of feel through it as well. So there is kind of a gold DL through that stone in the middle as well, which is cool. So the DL signifies Donal Levy, my dad, who's one of the founders, Doug Ledden, business partner, Dan Levy, and then my brother Adam Levy. He got he's not incorporated. He's not incorporated. Not room for everyone.
You incorporated Doug before your brother. That was good.
Yeah, well, he got the scraps at the end. So no, it's amazing. We're very happy. Like there's 4 of us working on it the whole time. It's a nice project to work after you iron out the kind of family differences and quarrels. It's great to work together with them. There's really good synergy. We're really, really blessed to have Doug on board as well, who's formerly Dingle. Really, really knowledgeable. Big whiskey head, and he brings a lot of experience and a lot of network as well. So, yeah.
Well, absolutely fantastic. So, when you are deciding on your releases, how does that, I suppose, investigation go into the warehouses? How do you decide what is going to be good enough to wear the DL of the Ogham crown?
Yeah. So yeah, we source everything through WD O'Connell, through Dahi. So the last 2 releases have been G&D. So we just get tastings effectively. So we get a load of whiskey sent down, what we like. We're kind of going for single malts, slightly higher ABVs, so a bit of kick in them. And so we're kind of looking for kind of unique, different flavor profiles in each release. And we kind of want to bring people on a journey with us. So, release 1 and 2 and 3, they're all completely different flavor profiles. So there's a lot of people through the rugby background that mightn't be whiskey connoisseurs or be experts, but that's absolutely fine. And I just like bringing them along on the journey. People trying different ones. I love 2. I much prefer number 3 or whatever. So it's cool. It's a journey like that. We've got 4 heads at least, and we fire out all of our samples to people we know and trust as well, and we kind of come back with the unanimous decision most times, and we lock them in now for future releases.
Very good. And when you're looking at, I suppose, the future of this, I know you were saying that you want to get it in kind of honed in at the moment. Do you imagine it having core range whiskies that are distributed around the world at some point, or will it stay a brand that looks after special releases and the likes?
I'd say we'll do both, to be honest. I really like what we're doing at the moment. The feedback's great. There's a big appetite for it because we're looking at, we're selling out, 1,100 bottles in 20 hours. It's good numbers. So people want it, and people are enjoying it, and people want to be part of it. Down the line, 100%, we will definitely release a slightly more accessible price point, and try, push a quantity card a bit more. But at the moment, we're really enjoying what we're doing. Our audience is growing. Every release is really, really rocketing up. Our email list, our hits on our website and everything, which is important for us because we aren't in retail at the moment. So it's all going really, really well. And I mean, even in terms of our inbounds now of people looking to distribute us and talk with us, is great. It just, it shows us that we're doing well. We're on the right track. By no means perfect, and we're learning every day, but we're definitely trucking along nicely. The only place really we've got a bit of a partnership together in Fitzwilliam Hotels in Dublin. So they own the Bailey, Cellar 22, Fitzwilliam on the Green, and a couple of other places. So we're going to be in there if anyone is dying to try some and doesn't want to buy online. And then also we'd be in the Bridge pub, Lemon and Duke, and we'd be in the Black Rock as well. So there are some other former rugby players, business venture as well, who are supporting.
I was going to say, what's the theme of all those pubs?
Yeah. No, you got to look after your own.
Absolutely. Will you be at Whiskey Live this year? I know a number of the people who are watching at home will be attending Whiskey Live.
I'll be at it, but at this stage, I don't think we'll have an home stand, particularly because hopefully we don't have any stock at that stage. So we'll be floating around. You can see us from our own tattoos. You've seen us float around.
Yeah. Come see me, and I'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
It was
our usher.
Exactly. It was the most like that did happen. I'm not shitting you. That I was one of the strangest. And the guy was dead serious.
It's funny though, because like now that we've launched this, and people who have Ohm tattoos know what Ohm is and know the significance and stuff. And a couple of those people who have Ohm tattoos see me now, and they're kind of like a bit like, oh, he's got a brand of this, and like it's just funny, like. But I appreciate the support.
Yeah, absolutely. If people want to learn more about you guys, do you have socials as well as a website?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything at ohmwhiskey.com. So OGHAM whiskey.com. So yeah.
And we can check this out obviously on Irish Malt. When the next release you said is what, April 11th, coinciding with the Leinster match?
Yeah, not by accident. So we're banking that Leinster will get through that last 16 game, and then we're going to do it on the Thursday. 10 a.m. is when we go live. So as I said, email is the best way to get it. We usually send out an email the day before for anyone on our mailing list. They get exclusive access to purchase before everyone else. And they do really, really fly off the shelves. So I think that's the best way to be alerted going forward.
Fantastic. Well, Dan, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. This has been an absolutely fantastic dram, and obviously fantastically packaged whiskey as well. I cannot wait to see the fourth release now and how it grows into the future, into core releases whenever that may be. To you, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. To everyone in the comment section at home, thank you for watching along. To everyone who's watching after the fact, a very big thank you to you guys. To Rupert Egan from Egan's Irish Whiskey and John Murphy from Port McGee Whiskey, very big thank you. And to the O'Donovan brothers and the team in Irish Malt who make this all happen, who plan all this, get all the whiskies ready and ship them out all over the world. A very big thank you to you guys, because this brings Irish whiskies to your door. An email has already gone out to you guys giving you 10% off the whiskies we're having here this evening. There's a very big thank you to you guys for subscribing to 3 Drams. But to that, I would say thank you very much. And I hope you have a lovely evening and good night. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks, Matt. Cheers. Catch you later.